bonk the wall for no reason. So thank you very much, Paranoodle. I'm glad you feel that way. I'm glad, apparently a lot of people feel that way. I'm continually surprised and confused by it, but I'll take it. That people see me on GDQ and they like, they really, of all the people that presented at GDQ, that I am the one that you found interesting enough to follow up on.
Where are you going? Hey, wait! Stop!
Like, I still feel like I have much to learn. From the biggest. At least, in my opinion, the biggest and the best of runners. At least what I can. There's only so much I can learn without fundamentally changing the type of horrible person that I am.
This? What's going on here?
Yes, give me the death. Yay! Chat is for, well, yeah, when I get a raid and there's lots of new people, I try and, like, explain the run a bit more thoroughly than I otherwise would. I try to. I have a habit of, like, completely fucking glossing over glitches still.
What's that? Huh.
I have, like, the presenting voice versus my sort of, like, ground state. And I put on that presenting voice during, like, a big raid or a marathon run.
This is not a dream. What's happening to this place?
Because I know there's certain times where it's more expedient to actually talk about what the fuck I'm doing rather than talking about what I think about cereal. I've completely failed to show off, like, the red liquid glitch in its full effect once since I started running this game again, because I completely forget that you're not supposed to do that. I'm so used to it that I don't actually remember what the fuck the normal playthrough is like. Like, I can't actually navigate the amusement park properly anymore because I've completely forgotten the layout. Yeah, focus rambling. Because Silent Hill games I don't think are especially, like, explanatory. I've got a whole pastebin about this where I have, like, my own opinions on my own speed games versus their marathon viability. And as far as Silent Hill runs are concerned, I actually don't think they explain themselves very well. You need, like, a focused, good degree of commentary to really bring them out in a good format. But, like, given that I've experienced nothing but success with doing this, I apparently do this quite well. If only I ran a game that was more immediate. Then it would be the bomb. This is why I enjoyed commentating Freedom Planet so much, because that's a game that both looks really flashy, and there's a lot to talk about, so I can both ramble for like 500 words per second, and it looks pretty good. Whereas Silent Hill 1 is a game where you do in fact just hold up on the D-pad for like a minute solid at one point. But hey, like, peep this hot speed tech where you hold up on the D-pad for about 30 seconds. And nothing else happens. It's so, like, nothing that I can literally check Twitter while I do it. Like, hot speed game over here, right? So, like, how do you make this into a like, an entertaining white-knuckle marathon run? And the answer is you just never shut the fuck up. Heat. Nancy just randomly asked me for a picture of my dog at one point. Strange. Yeah, take a selfie with the couch. See, I've done that gimmick multiple times. I actually did that one during Freedom Planet as well. I did it during the shmup. I mean, Silent Hill 1 at least has, like, a lot more to talk about than the average game in this series, I think, because its movement mechanics are so weird. Momentum-based tank controls. Truly, we are on fire. I don't know why the game lagged so hard on opening that door, but I feel like that cost me fake time. Someone who had his dad on the couch? I don't remember. I heard about this, though. Because, yeah, if you're below, like, I think it's 18? Or is it 16? I don't know. One of those two ages. Then you need to have your parents with you. Parent, whatever. Light needs to be off. Yeah, because doors in this game are fucking stupid. Like, they really are. They're the worst shit. There are several doors in this run that I still haven't figured out, and I just leave it to luck. I just run at them and hope they don't fuck me. There are at least, like, 3 doors where I'm just hoping that shit doesn't go wrong. Like, I don't fucking understand how you do that with this game, where, like, the basic act of opening a door has a failure rate. Like, Silent Hill 1 is a technical marvel and a masterpiece artwork for its time, but it's also a fucking technical mess. Silent Hill 1 is like the original modern game where they did in fact totally sacrifice performance for the sake of enhancing the visuals to better their atmosphere, but like it's a horror game, so that at least plays back into the actual gameplay, but holy shit does this game have some poor frame rate sometimes. It's like, is the trade-off worth it? Yes. I think so, but I don't like admitting it. But would it be better if it ran at 60? Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's why I like Silent Hill 3 so much, because it does run at 60. What's Silent Hill 3's movement thing? Snap turning. Silent Hill 3 has a movement thing where you can quick turn and turn at exactly the same time, and it results in Heather being able to instantly snap 90 degrees in a given direction on a whim. I call that a snap turn. No one else does. I think it's a good name for it, so I'm sticking with it. And the snap turn is the linchpin of Silent Hill 3's movement. I remember when snap turning got found, and I was like super into it. It was found by Abby, because Abby found like everything interesting in Silent Hill 3. And I was like, dude, I was like, this is big. I was like, this is the next thing. But everyone was like, nah, it's not worth it. It only saves like a third of a second per room. And I'm like, do you know how many fucking rooms there are in this game? Like, think about it for a moment. It adds up real fast. So like, naturally, me and Abby started doing it. And we both started cutting like 20 to 30 seconds off our run times, and everyone was like, shit. And I was just like, told you. Why does no one believe me? Like, who cares if it saves a third of a second? It saves a third of a second. I fucked up the timing on that really badly, but I got away with it, so lol. What's Origin's thing? Origin's thing is having, like, even shittier 2D controls than Silent Hill 2. That's Origin's thing. But then Origins is also the game of having door hitboxes that are so generous you can hit them from halfway across the room. On the plus side, you don't have to deal with, like, obscure door fuckery like you do in this game, but the downside is that you can open doors when you're nowhere near them. But, all in all, I think I actually prefer Origins door and item hitboxes to Silent Hill 1's, where they're fucking needlessly fiddly. What's Book of Memories speed tech? Book of Memories speed tech is to completely ignore the game balance by refusing to change weapons. What you do is you get a flamethrower and you get a rock drill and you never ever use anything else. Because they are the two best weapons in the base version of the game. Book of Shadows worth playing? If you mean Silent Hill Book of Memories, no. If you mean Corpse Party Book of Shadows, also no, actually. No, regardless of the question, no. Yeah, Book of Memories is not a good game, and it's so mediocre and filled with such questionable design decisions that, like, I can't recommend it to anyone, even for, like, its, like, amusingly bad qualities or anything like that. It's really repetitive and not fun, and just, it ain't good. It so ain't good. That's the good luck, cowboy. And I'll fucking need good luck as well. I bought Book of Memories because it was cheap and I wanted to finish the series. Like, it's the only Silent Hill game I haven't played, so I thought, okay, it's cheap, I'll do this, let's see what this is all about. Now that I've played it, I can't earnestly recommend it to anyone, it's just not worth it. It's such a long fucking game as well. It's like, there is almost certainly a better thing that you can do with your time. I remember talking about this with people on my Discord, because people were like, oh, submit Book of Memories to marathons, and I'm like, no, there is no point. Like, I cannot envision the scenario in which Book of Memories is ever gonna get into a speedrun marathon ever for any reason. It's totally not worth it. Shit. Nah, the phone numbers puzzle was Shattered Memories, and I actually still don't see that making it into a marathon either. Book of Memories is like a 5-hour action RPG. Awful Block? No. I don't know why people say Awful Block. Awful Block's actually really hard to get into. Awful Block is a prestigious fucking place to get into. It's not a place where you dump garbage. Like, it's also a 5-hour run. It's like, it's not a block at that point. It's just the one game. So, like, Awful Block is no, that ain't happening. That's absolutely out. Book of Memories is just, is a 0 out of 10 for a marathon. It's also, Brasco has the right idea. It tends towards shorter runs. 5 hours is unacceptably long. Like, I have previously tried and failed to get a game into the awful block that had a length of about an hour 20, precisely because of length. Like, as in, this was back when GDQ actually did feedback. And I asked, okay, like, why didn't you take this game? Like, not in an accusing way or anything, but, like, I just asked, you know, like, okay, like, what's the sitch with this game? I thought this was kind of funny. And they were like, it is funny, but, like, not quite funny enough for an hour and a half. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. Like, for what it's worth, I think they're right. But it indicated to me strongly the kind of length bracket they're looking at for the awful block, which is about an hour. Like, maybe even less than that. If you want to occupy an hour of the awful block, you need a fucking good excuse. So, awful block runs, they're no ordinary trash. Wherever. Awful block has been a highlight of, like, the past few GDQs, and that's because they're picked super carefully. It's a very refined block. It seems like a bunch of thoughtless nonsense being shoved into a place, but no, I guarantee you, it's one of the more carefully considered aspects of the schedule. Like, last SGDQ had the indie block and the awful block back-to-back, and I dubbed the sequence of 8 extremely high-quality back-to-back runs in that sequence as the golden block, and I'm sticking with that moniker. That is the best run of consecutive programming I think any marathon has ever had. Was the block that started at Cuphead and ended at some point in the middle of the awful block. It's not like there aren't, like, sort of questionable picks for awful block sometimes as well. Mohawk in awful block is inspired. The thing about Mohawk is that it's interesting. Like, it's not merely just bad, it's interesting bad. But then sometimes they put in games that I don't think are bad at all. They're not bad at all, they're just weird. Like, weird and awful gets used kind of interchangeably sometimes. Like, they had, I was on the couch for this one as well, they had Dog's Life in awful block, and Dog's Life is absolutely not an awful game. It is not close. It's fucking weird, but it's not a bad game, like, not even slightly. I have played things that are orders of magnitude worse than Dog's Life. Game is bad. Okay, my lead's gone now because the game fucked up. That's annoying. Sigh. Dog's Life doesn't look good. Dog's Life has a sort of uncanny visual aesthetic, but Dog's Life is actually, like, a good game. It can be a bit repetitive sometimes, but there is actual merit to that game. It's way better than it looks. It's got interesting puzzle solving, which you didn't see any of in the run. Like, there's some puzzles where it's actually expedient to poop in your own mouth. Good game. It's a fucking weird game, but I'm hard-pressed to call it a bad one. What was that other game that was in the awful block? I can't remember. There's another game that was in the awful block. There was, I think it was Biomiracle Bakute Upa was in the awful block at some point for whatever reason. I was like, this isn't an awful game at all. Why is this in the awful block? This is like just a fairly legitimate NES game speedrun. It was really weird. Also, I've gotten so used to how, like, YouTubers say that game's name that I can't pronounce it properly anymore. Fuck. Did you miss any good runs? Not really. How? Oh, A Dog's Life is a game where you're a dog. And therefore you can input a button sequence to poop on command. You can then pick up the poop and throw it at people. There is, like, an obvious use to being able to do this. Because most characters in that game don't react pretty well to having stuff. Virtual Highlight is definitely a game that's difficult to play, but again, I'm also hard-pressed to describe it as awful. That's awful what just happened there. That's fucking horseshit. I hate being on the boundary where the game doesn't register either hitbox as valid. Virtual Highlight has interesting ideas, and a questionable execution of said ideas. But it's not awful. This is the distinction, right? Like, Awful Block is billed as, like, the worst of the worst, the rogues gallery of gaming, but it's actually the block for weird but interesting stuff. Usually. Like, Avoid the Noid's pretty fucking bad. But, like, Biomiracle Bakute Upa is weird, not bad. Like, that game's actually pretty functional. Dog's Life is weird, but definitely not bad. Some of those physics-based PC games they got put in are also not bad. They're, like, weird by nature. That's kind of the point of them existing. But, like, I don't know. The moniker annoys me because then games get put into it have the, whoa, this game's so terrible, and that's like, but, like, no, come on. Like, it's not. You're lying to yourself. Do I consider Envirobet? No. Because, like, that's cheating because Envirobet 2 is awkward by design. That game succeeds at what it wants to do perfectly. And it also actually has a pretty good visual aesthetic. I don't know what the fuck it's doing in the Awful Block. Like, it's not an awful game. I don't know. Something about that annoys me. It's the moniker that annoys me more than the actual thing itself. Bad games are boring, whereas, like, nothing in Awful Block is boring. Arabian Nights, meanwhile, is probably the strictest, like, interpretation of this, because that game fucking sucks. But it is hilarious. Like, that's that real shit. That's a good fit. But there are lots of games that get into Awful Block that just aren't bad. That aren't bad. And it especially, like, strikes me as annoying when, like, games that are awkward by design get in. Because, like, that's cheating if you, like, your game is, like, intentionally frustrating to play and then it gets into Awful Block and it's like, oh, it's a wacky, awful game, but, like, no, it's made that way on purpose. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's just streamer bait at that point. I like the Awful Block in terms of it being like a funny block of runs, but I take issue with the name. Also, hi, Rebel. Go to the basement. I fucked up. I went to the wrong place. Hi, Alex. I said your screen name. I'm too familiar for this. Thank you for the host, and thank you for the good luck with the shitty out of bounds. I'm trying to hide the real name. You can always just let me know what it is you want to say. I mean, you refer to me by my real name all the fucking time. I don't even care at this point. The weird mechanics of knowing people in real life.
What's this?
Pick up the key. I run, like, precisely one game I could think of as my real name is not Aaron. I run, like, maybe one game I could think of as being fitting for the awful block, and nothing else I can position as being in the awful block really fits the awful block. Like, if I wanted to be a disingenuous dickhead, I could put White Day in there, but White Day isn't really bad enough. It is definitely weird, though, and, like, you could position the ooh as, like, being awful. It's not a great game, but I think calling it awful is pretty unfair. My name isn't Aaron, but I'll accept your good evening. I think the name, and thinking on it more, I think the name I would want for the awful block is probably the comedy block. Right, runs that are funny. You don't need an awful game to have a funny run. But an awful game sometimes does make a funny run. Like, it's a block for comedy, not a block for anything else, really. Sometimes humor is derived from an awfulness of a game, but sometimes it's just derived from a game being weird. And that I feel like is much truer to the nature. Like, Silly Block, I think, is a much truer to the nature of it all. Okay, we're in. Let's begin. This run operates in such narrow fucking margins. Being -0 does not fill me with the strong play. Clean split, though. The late game on this run's really good, though. Is the game specialty queue known yet? Nah. Comes up on the 27th, I believe. I think it's the 27th. Dude, that lag. Dodge. Good dodge. I shot that second one too early, though. That didn't count. I know for a fact that didn't count. I think I've wasted like 2 shots now. I'm doing poorly. Quit hitting me with your button. Well, I think every single, like, marathon thing vets its runners as well as the runs. Like, to some extent. We will know soon the future of speedrunning in 8 days, as we can discover which games are allowed into the prestigious and mighty career-deciding event that is Games Done Quick. I sound like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. It is important. I would like to get in, but I'm also not going to be particularly heartbroken if I'm not. Why is this split so good? What did I submit? I submitted 3 Silent Hill games and A World Ends With You. Of those, the one I want the most is The World Ends With You. But I also consider the timing to be wrong for it, so I'd be content to sit this one out. Like, I want to get in, but I'm not going to be surprised if I don't, you know? He hasn't moved. Oh, he has. I'm wrong. Hello. Bye. Like, a confluence of factors leads me to believe that, that my game submissions for GDQ, I think my pitches are good, I think my games are good, I think the timing is bad. I think, like, 1 marathon cycle over, and I would be actually looking pretty good. But, I don't know, I seem to have a really bad ability to predict these things, because I didn't feel massively good about my chances last time either, and I got Silent Hill 2 for it, so yeet. Right, what's this cunt doing? Ah, you fucker. Ooh, I got by anyway. I got a bit blocked, though. I really hope they do take 12, because I do... That game was submitted by quite a few people. But I'm currently the world record holder, so I have dibs, fuckers! There is currently an actual co-op submission with a couple of different runners rather than my solo, like, 1-player, 2-controller co-op submission. I'm not gonna lie, I will be fucking salty if the co-op submission gets in instead of, like, my solo run, because their time is a lot worse. Like, I will be mad pissed if that happens. It's a possibility, and I will be fucked off if it becomes reality. I would not be impressed. Let's run stop. Like, as in, I would absolutely be pissed off on Twitter about it, because that would be bullshit. I've considered that the possibility is there for that, and I've noted that I would be absolutely pissed off about it. Because they're the same fucking run. Like, they're both co-op. But if they want to, like, favor a certain... If they want to favor the runner in question for that, if they want the choice between, like, which runners they want, that's a really bad way of phrasing that. Then they have the wriggle room to plausibly say that they wanted a co-op run instead, but, like, you ain't fooling me. I know that would be bullshit. Would I still attend if I didn't get a run in? Absolutely not. Way too expensive. Also, yeah, no hits. This run's in a pretty good condition going into the late game. Yeah, Midwest for HDQ is also way more expensive for me than any other GDQ. Now, see, now that HDQ is in Orlando, it becomes a lot more feasible to go there. Just sort of more casually, I guess, although I still don't think I'd go without a run-in. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. How is that my golden fucking sewers? I blame Fastload. Yes, let's get stuck on a pole. They did, kittens. So hi, Timothy. Get out of the fucking way. I'm bad at angles. Awkward, but it worked out, I guess.
Sip.
Ah, come on, don't do this. It kinda did it. My username on Twitch is spelled with an I because there's an inactive account sitting on Punchy with a Y, but I prefer to spell it with a Y. If I had the option, I'd do that, but I don't. I spell it Punchy with a Y on like every other service. It's just Twitch that it's with an I. Fuck you, game. Door fail is bullshit. Is AGQ always in January? Pretty much, I think. I don't think it's ever not been. When I get partnered. Such high faith in me. But no, really, when I get partnered. Where's my fucking check mark already, Twitch? Give. I'm getting impatient. Like, I'm feeling pretty confident about it at this point, and confidence is the worst thing to give me. Nice. Two seconds. There was really 2 to 3 seconds worth of time save on that split. The late game on this run, though, is so good. Like, I expect to lose time on this last split. I'm running against my gold. Kinda.
I disagree.
Buttercream, thank you for the sub. What's the record for this category? I don't actually know. I never ever remembered the world record. Oh, come on, game. Game? What the fuck? This game sucks. just wouldn't move. The chokes are occurring, dude. Now is not the time for this game's janky bullshit. But then it is always the time for this game's janky bullshit, isn't it, really? I also can't skip cutscenes, apparently, so that's good. Time is gonna be all fucking wacky for this. That was really late. Time for the dodge that never works. That's not gonna work. That was actually an execution problem. Because I went too early. I'd call that a nervous mistake, but that's probably me compensating for input lag. Good pace, but I think world record's dead. I think I fucked it on this split. It had a chance, but this ain't it. I did say the same when I PB'd, and I'm always right. That's definitely a PB, though. I'd be fucking shocked if it wasn't. 3 seconds time loss makes sense, but is unfortunate. It could have been better.
Daddy.
Cheryl!
Pretty good run, though, dude.
Daddy. Goodbye.
I'd be that could not be a PB, but I'd be fucking shocked if it wasn't.
Cheryl?
Right, let's review here.
Be.
Good death.
Can't leave like
I don't know, I don't actually remember much going on in that, but I'm choosing to ignore it.
Happening.
Good normal school, good nightmare school. I think I fucked up the control room tower. The control room tower again, dude. Control room tower did it again, dude. No. No hit sewer, pretty good. Float stinger, pretty good. Boat split, good enough, I guess. It's probably a PB.
Parry.
Fucking shocked if it wasn't, man. I don't think that's the Relly Brelly or whatever the fuck. But that's a pretty good run. I'm just surprised by such the... Show me something good. Show me at least 3-2x. Like, come on. Show me 3-2x. Not sub 45 RTA though, like, what the fuck? 32x. That is 6 seconds PB IGT, which makes sense. Nice.